Yesterday in the House, David, paid sick days was again brought forward, this time by the Liberal government, by the Liberal Party, voted down by your party. Many people in the riding of Northumberland-Peterborough South wondering why you voted against this when last week Premier Doug Ford came out, said that your party had made a mistake and are willing to put in paid sick days. Did you vote it down because it's a Liberal motion? Here's your opportunity to talk to the residents of Northumberland-Peterborough South.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I voted it down because it was a bad policy. It didn't deal with the issue the Premier wanted addressed, or to be frank, that we flagged with the federal government. A couple things. One, this would have put the onus solely on the backs of our smallest employers. And actually, Mark, the only note I received this morning is 2 text messages from small business owners thanking me for not voting in favor of this, because many of them, and I'll just read one: "Dear David, thank you very much for voting against paid sick leave today. Businesses like mine could not shoulder this burden. We are struggling to stay afloat and keep our employees employed." So that's just sort of gives you an analysis. The smallest businesses among us, sections 9 and 10 of that private members bill would have punished them. And we just don't want to pick winners between businesses and workers of this province. We want to have a program that supports workers, and that federal program doesn't put the onus on businesses. It's a federal program. In fact, I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but it was reported by Bob Fife of CTV that Ontario actually a week ago wrote to the federal government offering to double the program. As a top-up. Just send us the bill. This is the fastest way to get to folks. We'll double that program, dealing with one of the concerns we had, which was that it's not enough. It pays workers below minimum wage. So that broke today, that story. That sort of gives you a sense of what we're doing behind the scenes as a government, trying to work proactively with the federal government to improve that $19 billion Safe Restart Agreement, of which over $1 billion is allocated for paid sick days across the country. There's no other province that has moved to improve that program. Ontario is the lead in improving it to bring more money to workers, to bring the payments faster for workers, and obviously to amplify awareness. When you read sort of misleading headlines like there's no paid sick days, or if we voted against it, that would lead the viewer to believe that there aren't any. There are, and can that program be improved? Yes, without question, and that's what we're working on right now.
Last week during Mr. Ford's apology news conference, his first since a staffer close to him was positive for COVID, so he's obviously in isolation. He said that your government has a plan. What is the plan? Is the plan to just back the federal government plan, give them the money, send us the bill, or is there going to be a specific plan formed by your government?
Well, I don't think it's just to do for the feds, Mark. I think that there's this very significant program in place that needs improvement. Yes. I think let's just walk through what this would mean to duplicate a program. You're asking our essential workers or workers of this province. Let's just put aside the politicization and just say workers of this province, if they want to stay home, they have to navigate a federal program. And then when they're done that, go back from scratch, navigate a provincial program. When are you going to get payment for both? How's it going to be done? How does that help any worker? If the actual goal of this is to help workers of this province get payment faster and actually have a living amount to stay at home. And as was reported this morning, as you saw, this is a program that would pay workers, would pay them to stay home over a 4-week period, doubling the federal program to close to $25 an hour. That's huge. That's something the likes of which we haven't seen in any other province in this country. That's very substantial, and that's what Premier Ford has been working on. That's our plan, is to ensure that we actually support workers through a seamless, one source, quick payment into your bank account. Last I checked, that through CRA, through employment insurance and programs like that, the fastest way to get money into the hands of Canadians was through those sorts of programs. What do they all have in common? They're run by the federal government. What did the Americans do? Bipartisan support. Democrats and Republicans had a national program. And for goodness sakes, only in Ontario do we see the overt politicization of this. If the Democrats and Republicans can come together to make that happen in the United States, why can't we come together? Ontario's taking the lead as far as provincial jurisdictions go to work with the federal government to address this in a meaningful manner. As you saw, where we've put forward a proposal to the federal government, I sincerely hope that they will accept this. To just double that program, get it into the hands faster, and then we will amplify awareness throughout the province of Ontario so that folks know 300,000 workers in this province have already benefited from that program. We know that we want to ensure that they have more to stay at home with confidence. That was one of the issues that we flagged. The speed of payments, Mark, was another issue Ontario flagged. And I'm pleased to say, and again, in the spirit of bipartisanship, thank you to the federal government for moving it from what was a week to 2 weeks to 2 to 3 days. This is movement in the right direction. And again, we're the first province to do this in our federation.
Have you heard anything back from the federal government on your proposal last week of topping it up, increasing it, and the Ontario government will pay the bill of whatever that bill would be?
Well, we didn't get an initial signals that we were hoping for, but we haven't had a definitive answer. I'm looking forward to hopefully, perhaps now that we've seen investigative journalists do some reporting on this, that we might get a little traction today.
You're watching Queen's Park Report. I'm Mark Rockburn. Joining me as always is Northumberland-Peterborough South MPP David Piccini. Today is Tuesday, April 27th, the day of the taping. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. And David, if the federal government does not accept this proposal, what is your party's plan then for sick days?
So if they don't, I know we're working on, as I said, to speed up that payment faster, ensure that workers have more to stay at home with confidence, and Minister McNaughton will move forward with a provincial move on that. Again, making us the first jurisdiction in Canada to make a move on this.